good, family? This is the day the Lord has made. This is the day the Lord has made. This is the day the Lord has made. Nope, I'm not stuttering. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. I almost said I didn't like this day because of what humans have made it represent, with all this foolishness with kids and teaching kids how to observe darkness and wickedness and foolishness. But you know what? I'm not going to give anything to the enemy. I'm not going to give a day to the enemy. I'm not going to give a second, a minute, an hour, a day, month, or year to the devil. So I'm going to rejoice in Jesus. I'm alive in 2025. And if these clowns want to act like they don't know him, that's on them. They're going to have to answer for that. I was talking to a really nice gentleman today early today, who I know. He's a really good dude, younger guy. And we got in a conversation about things, and he was talking about, America. I said, I really consider myself a human being on Earth. I don't get into separating myself from other human beings on Earth. And it reminds me of COVID. Back when COVID had struck, and how COVID apparently did not discriminate against any race, against any states, against any country. According to what we know from the disease was it affected everybody in one way or another. I mean, it may not have affected some people way over in the bush somewhere that was cut off from everybody else, but as far as we know, COVID affected everybody. So it's amazing how we could be unified in dying. Humans all die the same way, or one of the same ways. Dead is dead. Whatever it may be, a disease, bullet, getting knocked upside the head, whatever the case may be. We all have that in common. So, but everything else, folks tries to separate themselves. I mean, he was like, well, I love this country, I'm American. And I'm like, well, what else have you experienced? And he said, nothing. And I said, well, I'm not anti where God birthed me, but at the same time, the Bible tells us the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. So I'm very mindful of the fact that we are bigger than just Americans, human beings or Americans, black in America, white in America. We're bigger than that. And if we don't be bigger than that, we're not bigger than that. We're very small. And we make God small. We have to be mindful of the very fact that he didn't create us to have a small mind. By us being created by God and acknowledging God, and most of all being born again, he gave us a kingdom mentality. And kingdoms, when you think kingdom, it's not about a zip code, area code, a state, a country, a race. The kingdom is the kingdom, especially when he says royal priesthood. Royalty is royalty. So I understand how it is and why it is that people get caught up in that stuff. You're trained from the minute you're born. This is where you was born. This is where you pay homage to. This is your people, blah, 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 blah. I understand that. You're separated as soon as you're born. They start designating you as soon as you're born, based off of your race, where you was born, who you was born to. All these, they start checking boxes for you immediately. But like I said, as a born again believer, I've learned with my being born again, I adapt a kingdom mentality where I refuse to let somebody put me in their box of belief or understanding. Because if you do that, everything in your life is going to be limited. And that's just the beginning. They're not going to stop at limiting you with that. They're going to keep on doing it. So I hope that helps somebody. And back to this crazy day, Isaiah 60, chapter, verse 1. Read that. How the darkness is in this land. And everybody talk about this, that, and the other. Man, whatever's happening in these countries with these horrible storms and anything, it can happen here. And when stuff get turned upside down, then people be crying out, talking about pray for this and pray for that. No, y'all need to start accepting the Lord and His ways and doing what we're called to do. And then you'll continue to receive His grace and His mercy. But if you continue to lift up this pagan, secular stuff and allow darkness to continue to cover the earth, we're going to be doomed, flat out. It ain't about no president. It ain't about no political party. It's about the choices of people by rejecting Jesus Christ.